Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stu here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. We'll go through some of the main newspapers here in Spain, check out what is happening in the press. We'll have a look at El Mundo, El País, RTVE, the state broadcaster, El Confidencial, and then we'll go into the comments section and check out what is happening there. And we'll see if we can find some articles that catch our attention. So straight into the news, we'll start off here with El Mundo, and we can see here on the left, Encuesta, survey or poll, Vox sube. So we'll click on that one and see what's happening there with regard to the political party Vox. And the headline is Vox sube, Vox rises, while 40% of PP voters disapprove with the route that Pablo Casado is taking. And if we scroll up and have a look at the graph of voting intention here in Spain, we can see that the PSOE out in front, 27.2% of the intended vote, the PP 22.9%, Vox now up to 17.4%, Podemos there in the purple sitting at 11.7%, the Citizens Party there at 5.4%, and then we have the Catalan Republican Left Party ERC at 3.2%, and various other parties around the country making up the rest of the vote. So there we go, some interesting news there. Vox's popularity up, people not happy with the way the Partido Popular is going, and I'm sure a lot of people have decided to support Vox in recent months because of that discontent with the Partido Popular. We have seen in recent times how the PP is talking about changing its image, getting away from its past, getting away from those corruption scandals that are constantly in the press, and the rise of Vox very, very worrying for the Partido Popular here in Spain. So the question is, how popular can Vox become? Where are the limits for a party like this, a populist party, let's say, here in Spain? I don't know. We'll wait and see. Now we'll go back into the news and we'll click on this article here about the 8th of March protests in Madrid. And we can see here the headline, Día de la Mujer en directo, las estudiantes se concentran en Madrid, prohíben las manifestaciones con las terrazas a reventar. So there's been a student concentration in Madrid, and they are complaining that Women's Day demonstrations in Madrid have been prohibited, but the outdoor seating areas of bars and restaurants are full to bursting point. Now, there's been a fair bit of controversy about this in recent times. We know that the central government's delegation in Madrid decided to ban all protests and demonstrations for the 8th of March. Various organisations decided to take that decision to court. The court supported the government's decision, and now we can see students protesting and saying, why can't we demonstrate? Why can't people demonstrate today if bars and restaurants are full of people? What's the difference? Now we'll go back into the news and scroll up. There was an article here that caught my attention, so we'll click on that one about the economy. And the headline, what reforms does Spain need to make in order to tackle the economic recovery? And we'll scroll up a little bit and we can see here las pensiones, el mercado de trabajo y las administraciones públicas. So the pension system, the labour market, and public administrations. So the pension system needs to be reformed, the labour market needs to be reformed, and the public administrations need to be reformed. Now I heard something similar back in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, when that last crisis hit. They also talked about reforming some of these sectors. Obviously, they didn't do enough back then, and now we're stuck with the same problem again. So it seems that these are problems that keep repeating themselves crisis after crisis. They talk about reforms, but nothing ever happens. Former Prime Minister Rajoy reformed the labour market, but he was met with great opposition back in the day, and I think Podemos today wants to change everything that Rajoy did. There have also been various reforms to the pension system over the years, for example, pushing the retirement age back, but again, more reforms are needed. So let's see if this government can make the necessary reforms once and for all to get the economy in this country back on track. Now we'll leave El Mundo and go to El País, see what is happening there. We can see the majority of articles here related to the 8th of March. And we'll scroll up and click on this article here about the Health Minister, see what she has to say. And we can see the headline, Daria sobre la Semana Santa. Consensus is cool. I'm going to fight for Madrid to join the consensus. The Minister of Health also reaffirms that 70% of the population will be vaccinated by the end of summer and announces that Pfizer will distribute 4.8 million doses to Spain in April alone. And von der Leyen in the European Union says that from April the EU will receive 100 million doses of vaccines per month. So consensus is cool, according to the Health Minister, Ms. Darius, trying to get all of the autonomous communities here in Spain to agree to the same measures at Easter time, which is basically to keep their borders closed and not allow people to travel. We know that the majority, I think 14 out of the 17, want to close, but 3, Madrid, Canary Islands and the Balearic Islands, want to allow their citizens to travel freely. We saw in yesterday's video that the Premier of Madrid thinks it's better to allow people to leave Madrid, to go to places where there are more restrictions in place, to go to places where there's more open spaces, and not have people crowded together here in Madrid at shopping centres, bars and restaurants and other places where a lot of people tend to gather. And that's basically the problem that the Madrid community has. There's not a lot of restrictions in place. You can go to shopping centres, you can go to bars, you can go to restaurants. There are some limits on how many people can get together, but of course if you have 7 million people trapped here for the Easter weekend and nobody is allowed to travel, then those places are going to get very, very busy. You only have to go to any shopping centre here in Madrid to realise just how many people get out and about at the weekend. I drove past the local shopping centre here last Saturday and it was absolutely packed. There was no social distancing going on. Everybody was out and about, everybody was shopping and everybody was having a good old time. And that is the problem, or that is the dilemma for the Madrid community. But the health minister seems fairly certain that she will be able to get that consensus and keep the country closed for Easter. So we'll see if the Madrid community gets on board. Now we'll leave El País there and go to El Confidencial, see what's happening there. We'll click on the Spain tab, go directly, and we'll click on this article here about a recent study. And it is that a study states that mortality will fall by 60% among older people. The injection will be given to 7,925 people in their homes, as well as their caregivers. Another 23,000 dependents who can move will go to their health centres. So the vaccine program here in Spain is starting to speed up. More and more elderly people, as we can see there, getting access to the COVID-19 vaccines, and a study there saying that the mortality rate due to COVID will fall by 60% for that part of the population. So some good news there. Now we'll leave El Confidencial, go to RTVE, the state broadcaster, scroll up and see what's happening there. An article there on the right about the story that everybody's talking about at the moment, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, but I'm sure everybody's up to date on what's happening there. So we'll scroll up and have a look at the restrictions in each autonomous community. Somebody in the comment section asked me the other day if I could do a video about all of the different restrictions here in Spain, the different restrictions in the 17 autonomous communities. I think the easiest thing to do is have a look at this map here, or have a look exactly what's happening around the country. This is fairly updated, recent information. So for example, if we click on Andalusia, we can see exactly what restrictions are in place there. It tells you exactly what's going on when it comes to confinements, curfews, how many people can get together, the restaurant industry, other businesses, and we can see here on this infographic exactly what you can and can't do. So for example, if we click on one of the icons, we can see here that the curfew in Andalusia is between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. And we've got the same information for all the autonomous communities: Aragon, Asturias, Balearic Islands, what else have we got here? Canary Islands, Cantabria, etc., etc. So there you go. If you're living in Spain and not really 100% sure what the restrictions are in your autonomous community, you can go to that webpage, rtve.es, check out that information, and you'll be fully updated on what you can and can't do in Spain at the moment. So check that out. Now we'll go into the comment section and see what's happening there. See if we can find some interesting comments. We'll have a look at this one here from Alexander. Isn't it a moot point if Madrid says their borders are open during Semana Santa, but all the other regions are closed? They can't leave anyway then. Yeah, Alexander, thanks for the comment. And you're right, if all of the other autonomous communities around Spain are closed, for example, if Castilla y León is closed, if Castilla-La Mancha is closed, if Valencia is closed, then nobody from Madrid will be able to go to those places. So what's the point of having the Madrid borders open? That's the question. I imagine that the Madrid government is trying to pressure other regions around Spain to keep their borders open so that people from Madrid can have a bit of a holiday, get out of the Madrid community. I imagine that's what's going on. But we know that Ms. Ayuso is a little bit stubborn and likes to do the opposite of what other places are doing. We just saw that the health minister is trying to get consensus around the country, trying to convince Madrid to keep its borders closed, and I imagine that Ms. Darias, the health minister, will get her way. But it's going to be an interesting week politically to see how this story unfolds, so we'll keep an eye on it over the next few days. One here from Jose Antonio: Extremadura is made up by the two largest provinces in Spain and only has 1 million inhabitants. COVID cases and casualties went up like crazy after Christmas. It's not that many tourists go there, but that many Spaniards came to El Pueblo, the former family village. I hope people do not make the same mistake at Easter, which is the best time of the year to visit Extremadura. We'll see how it turns out. Yeah, Jose Antonio, thanks for the comment. It has been interesting to see what happened in Extremadura over the last few months. Case numbers went up incredibly high after the Christmas break because, as you mentioned there, people returned home for that holiday period, didn't obviously adhere to the rules, and the health situation got out of hand very, very quickly. Severe restrictions were put in place, and today they have the lowest incidence rate on mainland Spain, so they managed to get the health situation under control. Now, I don't know what's happening in that part of Spain as far as Easter is concerned. I think they want to keep their borders closed because, as we know, Extremadura is very close to Madrid. Lots of people from Madrid could go there very, very easily. It's only a couple of hours away, and I'm sure that people in Extremadura don't want the health situation to get out of control again. That part of Spain is one of my favorite parts of the country, especially the province of Cáceres. Some very, very interesting places to visit there, and if you ever get the opportunity to go to that part of Spain, I recommend that you do so. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Tell us your favorite parts of Spain. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.